Well, hello again and welcome to my kitchen. And this evening I've poured myself a little vodka martini. And it's a dirty one. Dirty martini, for those of you that don't know, is they use some of the brine from the grapes. The grapes? No, not the grapes. The olives. That's what they use. Brine from the olives to make it dirty. Gives it a nice little tang as well. Happy Friday, everyone. Okay, so what am I actually going to do for you today? Well, I'm going to do it for me, and you're going to watch and hopefully make it at home. It's something that, as winter's coming on, I love more of, and that's stews and casseroles and pies. So I thought I'd actually make a nice little pie. And one of my favourite pies is a chicken and mushroom pie. But I'm going to do it with chicken and leeks and mushroom, okay, with a lovely pastry top. Okay, now first of all, for those of you that would probably want to go and do this at home, I can imagine you would go and buy chicken fillets from the shop. Nothing wrong with that, you can do that. But why don't you buy chicken and then cut it up. I'm going to show you how to cut it up, because then you can use the breast for the chicken mushroom leek pie, and we can use the legs, I don't know, maybe for a curry or something like that, because the leg meat will, and the thigh meat will sit lovely in a lovely Thai curry. And we can use the carcass. I'm actually boiling some water with some leek, some onions, some bay leaves, some cardamom as well. And I'm going to put the carcass in there, because that is going to be a chicken stock to make a soup. 3 meals out of 1 chicken. How amazing is that? Okay, so your chicken. The first thing I would do is take the legs off. Okay, sharp knife. Cut the skin between the leg and the breast. And then break it till it cracks. Then you can actually see where the bone is. And you can cut that out. I've got a plate here. Do the other side. Take the skin away, like that. Pull the leg back until it cracks, it pops. You can see where the joint is. Take it out. The wings, almost the same. Just hold them back. Once you've sliced into the breast, you can pop them and you can see where the joint is, and you can cut around them, like that. Now the top half of the wing, that goes in the stock, because there's gelatine in that, funny enough, and that's going to be really nice in the stock. So hands up all those that have cut a chicken up at home. So we've got 2 nice little wings like this, and 2 legs. That's another meal, yeah? So now you're left with this. So we're just going to take the 2 breasts off. So we're going to cut it down the middle, and then take one off and then the other, okay? So feeling where the ridge bone is down the back there. Slice the knife all the way down to the bone. And then I take it, flip the knife over along the inside of the cage and up like that. Then the other side. Having a sharp knife for this is kind of important, otherwise you could take your fingers off. Okay, so there's this carcass then that you would normally think, oh, I'll throw that away, but look at all this meat, right? So this is going to go in the stock, and I'm going to make a lovely chicken soup out of this. I am going to break it first. There we go. Now then, the chicken breasts, we don't want the skin. Even though chicken skin is absolutely yummy, it's not going to work in a chicken pie. Now then, I have got 2 boards here. You should always be careful of cross-contamination with raw food products, so just be careful at all times. Now then, the chicken, let's deal with this first. I've actually got a pie, which is going to be this. It's a bit chipped there. Oh, it's a bit dirty. No, it's not dirty, it's oven kissed. So it's a bit chipped there, but that's fine. So I'm just going to make enough to fill that pie. So 1 chicken breast might be enough. So I'm actually going to put a chicken breast to one side. Then I'm going to cut this into small nice small chunks that will go nicely in my pie. There's nothing worse than having a homemade pie and having small little bits of meat that are all mushed up. Do you agree? I do. There you go. Right, so the chicken is done, that's put into one side. I'm taking that board away and I'm washing my hands. How many of you wash your hands regularly whilst you're making food? Especially if you're using raw and fresh produce, you should. Cheers. It gives you time to stop and breathe and have a drink. Now I had to throw my olives in there because I got no cocktail sticks. So I'm going to have to drink the whole martini to get to my olives. And the best thing about a martini is you can swish the olives around, but never mind. Okay. So, the main part of the pie then is the chicken, mushrooms and leeks. So what we're going to do first is we're going to brown the chicken off, give it some colour. So you've cut it into nice chunks. We're going to get the pan nice and hot. We're going to use a little oil, some seasoning. And we're going to brown the chicken. Already that stock is beginning to smell really, really lovely. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, the chicken that we've cut up, I'm putting some pepper, some salt. It's not lots of pepper, it's just crap, it's nearly broken. And I do like a little paprika. Okay. Now we're also going to use tarragon. I don't know if you saw my turkey dish with the tarragon earlier in the week, but it's cheap, and if tarragon's out there, I've got to use it. I've just got to use it. Now I've got a little garlic salt. Sorry, Wayne. What I'm going to do is just mix that in, so all that seasoning is being rubbed into the chicken. Okay. I was actually watching, I found a new friend on TikTok. He's a young chef. He's only young, early 20s. And he's got such a passion for food, and I spent probably about 45 minutes the other night just watching his TikToks of him making food, and he's got the knack of knowing how to fasten up videos. I don't know how to do that, so I can't fasten up anything, sorry. So we've got our pan, it's coming up to temperature, a little bit of oil, not too much. We want it nice and hot. And meanwhile, the leeks, I've trimmed off all the green bits, and some of the green bits have gone into the stock. And some of the other green bits I've kept because I want green as well as white leeks in my pie. Now, I like leeks to be fairly chunky. You choose. It's your pie. This is my pie. Just remember that as you get towards the end of the leek, it does have dirt in there, so you do need to peel back a couple of layers to make sure they're nice and clean. That's amazing. So we're now going to put the chicken in. Chicken, lay a little egg for me. Now the idea is to get some colour on this, because otherwise when you open up the pie, because it's going to be a cream-based, white wine and cream-based pie with the tarragon, and everything is going to be white with the white leeks and the white sauce and the white chicken, so you want a bit of colour. That's why I add the green shoots and the tarragon to give it some green, but put some colour on that chicken. You know it makes sense. So I was speaking to my friend in Bristol about an hour ago, and we're having a right old laugh, because normally you'd be going, okay, so what are you doing tonight? You going out, going to see friends. They're on total lockdown. We're on a curfew here, so we can go out in the town for another 2 hours, but then we have to be in the house. So not really happy about that. So how's the whole lockdown thing where you are? What's happening? So no, Ireland is in lockdown. I've got no idea what's happening in America at the moment, and I don't want to even go into that. Cheers for that. So just now thinking, because I've got enough here to make my pie, which would actually be enough for 2 people, but I'm going to eat it all. From that chicken that cost me €4, I've got my pie, I've got a breast of chicken which I'll think of something else, I've got 2 legs that I can marinate and roast or put into a curry, and I've got some wings that I can actually make some fried chicken wings. How amazing is that? Okay, so this is what I wanted. I'll show you in a second when I've turned it over. It's a little bit of colour. So when you open up the pie and there's all that lovely cream sauce, you can see which bits of the chicken. How amazing. Now the chicken stock, which is here, you can just let that bubble away. Just less than a boil, but more than a simmer. And you want at least, I don't know, you want at least 45 minutes. Just let it boil away. And then the meat on that chicken carcass is going to literally fall off when you pull it off. You can throw that into your soup. Amazing. Waste not, want not. That's my motto. I've got a few more mottos, but we won't go into that right now. Okay, that chicken's actually got some lovely colour now, so I'm going to take that off. Put it on a little plate on the side. What we're going to do now is we're going to do the mushrooms. Just going to leave that to one side. Actually, I'll do the leeks. I'll do the leeks, so they're ready. Now the mushrooms, you can choose whichever mushrooms you want. I did see some really big white cat mushrooms today, but I actually like the flavour of chestnut mushrooms for me. And these I just want, again, chunky, so I'm quartering them. those leeks look amazing. I'm just going to put a little bit more oil, otherwise they're going to burn. So the mushrooms just quartered. Again, it's all about having, for me, when I have a pie, I want to break the crust. I want to see the sauce, but I want lumps of meat, and I want lumps of, well, in this case, it's leeks and mushrooms. This is seriously good. So my vodka martini this evening was beautiful iced vodka that I have in the freezer, a dash of Noili Pra, and the juice from the olives, shaken, lots of ice, so it's nice and cold. Et voila, martini. I used to go to a restaurant, when I lived in London, I used to go to a restaurant in Charlotte Street, just at the back of Tottenham Court Road. And it was a fine dining experience, hint of fusion. But the thing I used to love about it is when you arrived, you were sort of escorted into a lounge area, and you sat and you were offered aperitif. And if you had a martini, which I did, they actually brought the trolley and they made the martini in front of you, and you were invited to choose your vodka or gin, your vermouth, your garnish, everything, and it was made in front of you. And whilst these glasses are lovely, the martini glasses they used to have were so long and slim and elegant, it was unbelievable. Right, now the leeks have got some colour. I'm just tossing in the mushrooms. Never throw anything away as well. I mean, this, I haven't used this from the leeks. Never throw this away, because this can be used in another dish. Always think of the next dish. I mean, I've got a whole weekend ahead of me here, and oh dear, Gary's just messaged me. Gary, I'll get back to you in a second. I'm videoing, babes. I'm busy. Hang on. Always think of your next meal, especially when you're preparing food. Don't throw anything straight into the bin. It's waste. We pay far too much money for our food. Make sure you get every last drop of benefit from that food. Right, the leeks and the mushrooms are cooking nicely. What I'm going to do, I'm going to introduce some of the tarragon flavour to them now, and then more into the sauce after. Now tarragon, if you didn't know, it looks like this, it looks like grass. Actually it doesn't smell like much until you really cook it, but it's got an aniseedy flavour. Now you don't want the stalk, so pull the leaves off. See, most of you go and buy your tarragon like this, don't you? Yeah? That's okay. But when you've got it fresh, please use it, because it's an unbelievable flavour. It's got an astringent aniseed flavour, but it's sweet. It's almost like, do you remember Pernod? Did you ever used to drink in the 80s, Pernod and Black? Yeah, I did. That flavour with that heat now is releasing that aniseed scent into the leeks and the mushrooms. It's unbelievable. I actually, years ago, I used to always have a bottle of Pernod or Ricard in my cupboard, because I used to love deglassing the pan with it, because it gives that extra hint of aniseed, but I haven't got any. Times are hard. she said, drinking martini. Well, you've got to live, haven't you? You've got to live. Okay, so I've actually got some colour on everything I want. The aniseed from that tarragon is actually infusing beautifully. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put the chicken back. And I'm going to add some white wine. That wasn't a lot. What that's going to do, it's going to help deglass the pan. It's going to help with the extra insurgence of temperature. It's going to infuse all those flavours. It's going to impregnate that chicken. So many jokes about impregnating a chicken at the minute, it's daft. Have a drink. I've got it on a boil, on a high temperature, because I want that white wine to actually cook off, okay? I don't want sloppy white wine. I just want that white wine, the alcohol, the vapour to actually cook through and out. Because then we're going to add cream and more tarragon. So it's 7:45 here. In England it's 7:15. Now I know my friend in Bristol, he's already had his dinner. I'm not even going to tell you what he had to eat. I was amazed. Now I'm using a lot of tarragon because I love the flavour. It's cooking down nicely. Years ago, everything was cooked in everything was grown in seasons, and we had a season for everything: strawberries, asparagus. Okay, fresh herbs came and went, but when you have a fresh herb available, just use it because it is so beautiful. Not only is it healthy, it adds lots of antioxidants to your body, but it flavours the food. Unbelievably so. Far more than a dried product, in my opinion. If you've got a stew, then a dried product, fine, okay. But something like this, no. Okay, I don't know if you can see that. That's cooking down absolutely beautifully. The white wine's nearly gone, so I'm going to add the cream. Now, this is a cream sauce. I'm going to turn the temperature down a little bit now. It shouldn't need any thickening. For me, it won't need any thickening. But if you wanted to add, if you thought it was too runny, you might have added too much white wine. I mean, look at that. That's not runny at all. You could add some, what's that flour called that you use for thickening things? I don't know if it's my age or the fact I've just had a really strong martini, but I've forgotten the word for it. But you could actually use some flour with a little bit of white wine or water just to mix into that to thicken it. But I'm not going to need that. Now, we've browned the chicken. We've given the leeks and the mushrooms some colour. And we've actually got a really good sauce going on there. Right, two things have got to happen. You've got to taste it now, because apart from the seasoning when I put the chicken in, I haven't seasoned anything else. My God, that doesn't need anything else. Okay, so I'm just adding the rest of the tarragon. So just so you know, with the fresh chicken, all I did was a good sprinkle of salt, sea salt. I used Maldon, pepper, and some garlic salt. That was the only season, and I rubbed it in the chicken. That has now come through with the cooking process. The deglassing with the white wine has helped to concentrate the flavours. So I don't need any more salt. That is going in my pie pan. Because we're now going to do a pie crust. I mean, that's going to take about, I don't know, about 20 minutes to cook in the oven. By which time the rest of the chicken and the leeks and everything is going to be cooked to perfection. We hope. Okay. Meanwhile, the chicken stock is still cooking nicely. You can completely forget about that. That's fine. Sorry, I've just gone off camera because I need to put the cream in the fridge, and I've just squirted myself with After Sun because who puts After Sun in the fridge? Why? Because when you come off the beach and you're really hot and you've showered and everything, After Sun out of the fridge is so delicious. It's amazing. So you learn how to cook a pie and know you need to put After Sun in the fridge. I do, anyway. Okay, so right, we've got so many mushrooms and leeks left. It's unbelievable. It's another meal. It's a whole new meal. Now to go with this, I got some sprouts the other day, so I am going to be using these again because I love sprouts. But this time I'm going to boil them. The last time I actually roasted the sprouts, I roasted them, I peeled them, I sort of crossed them, and I tossed them with a little bit of oil and salt and chili flakes, lemon juice, and I roasted them. Please try this. If you like sprouts, please try that. Just sprouts, peeled, crossed, rubbed in oil, salt, pepper, chili flakes, and lemon juice, and then roast them. It's unbelievable. I think I just burped then. Okay, so now what we're going to do, pastry. I'm not going to stand here and show you how to make pastry. Now, when I was younger, I went to college and I learned how to make puff pastry, and I'll tell you now, it was an absolute bitch. But now we can actually buy pastry ready-made for us. How amazing is that? So all you need is a rolling pin, a clean surface, some flour, which if I'd have actually thought about earlier, I would have prepared. And now I'm off camera going through my fridge trying to find my flour. And that's okay. Stuff happens. So, flour. Running out of space. I've got a really small kitchen, I run out of space. So flour for your base, flour for your pin. Now this is puff pastry, and it's near as damn it big enough for the actual pie container I've got. So I don't need to roll it out too much, which means it's going to be lovely and fluffy. So fluffy! Have you seen the movie, the Despicable Me? When she goes out and she gets the little daughter goes out and they win that new unicorn. She says it's so fluffy. Despicable Me. True story. Okay, so when you roll out pastry, there's no art to it, just be gentle with it and just realise you need to cover the whole of your pastry dish. And just be aware when you actually roll pastry out, the minute you roll it out, it starts to shrink a little bit. So roll it out more than you actually think you need. And then you test it. And how lovely is that? Now roll it over the pin. Pie goes there. How amazing is that? Now, I don't want to cut off any pastry. I think I'm going to have to though, because there's a bit too much. Because I do love puff pastry, and I hate wasting. Who's making their own mince pies this year? Puff pastry mince pies. I love. So if you want to send me some mince pies, message me because I'll be all alone at Christmas. So all I'm doing, pies, you can choose how to make your pie, because some people can put the pastry on the bottom, the filling in the middle, and then the pastry on top. Fine. But for me, this is just going in a pie dish. Oh my God. How fabulous is that? What's that bit hanging there? Didn't see that bit? Okay, she's going to trim off. Lovely. And then, what do we do? Oh yes, egg wash to get a nice golden glaze. And I've also been roasting a sweet potato. Whilst we've been cooking, I've been roasting a sweet potato in the oven. So when that's cooked, I'm going to cut it into wedges and then deep fry the wedges. So I've got crispy baked sweet potato wedges with Brussels sprouts and a chicken, leek and mushroom pie. I'm going to make another one of these and I'll send pictures to you when I'm done. Okay, have yourself a really fabulous